Back again, this time transfer targets for game week 27. As always, I'm going to be sharing two great options for each position, one based on Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points, and one picked by myself using stats and fixture analysis to help choose the best players for the upcoming game weeks. But firstly, I need to look at the game week 27 team selection. And yeah, I haven't really got too many concerns. I mean, the Arsenal triple up in defence against Tottenham away with a new manager bounce to Tottenham. You could say that that's not ideal. However, we know how strong Arsenal are defensively. Tottenham so far this season have been pretty poor going forward. They lost this reverse fixture at the Emirates quite convincingly. So there's always the possibility of Arsenal grabbing another clean sheet. Hopefully that's the case. The Palace double up didn't go so well for me against Burnley in game week 26. So I'm hoping for a bit more luck in this Wolves fixture. Wolves have improved, but I expect a reaction from the Palace players. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a fixture you're going to target. Wolves at home, a team that are struggling to score goals, also a team that are not so good defensively either, whilst they have improved. Yeah, hoping for a lot better than game week 26 for the Palace double up. And then into midfield, Semenyo has been brilliant for me. Managed to grab 14 points against Fulham at home. Now has Newcastle at home, and whilst their stats say that Newcastle are one of the best teams defensively, they don't keep too many clean sheets, so hopefully Semenyo can keep up that form. And then Mbeumo and Fernandez up against Everton. Everton sometimes are brilliant, sometimes are very poor, kind of a hit and miss team. David Moyes has got them playing a lot better, but I can hope to get something from one of these players at least in this game. Then Enzo at home to Burnley. 1 minute he's getting an expected goal involvement of 0.1 and getting a goal. The next minute he's getting 1.10, not getting any sort of attacking returns. So Enzo is a bit of a mixed bag, but Burnley at home, you expect Chelsea to be dominant. And then Haaland is currently the captain against Newcastle at home. He seemed to have picked up his form after that goal and assist against Liverpool. I mean, in terms of the players that I've got in the team at the moment, yeah, Haaland is the definite standout captaincy pick. And then Thiago, he is a handful for most defenders. We've now seen that against Arsenal where he was a real handful. He should have come away with something. Thankfully he didn't, because he wasn't in my first 11. I put him on the bench, so I'm glad he didn't return. But I mean, it's positive going forward, the fact that he caused Arsenal untold amounts of trouble along with the rest of the Brentford side. So going up against Brighton, who are really struggling, looking like the Brighton fans, the fed up of the manager's tactics, the way they're playing, great fixture to target for Thiago and Brentford. So let's take a look at the fixture ticker to see which teams have the best fixtures for the next 6 game weeks. All right, so as you can see, Aston Villa topped the fixture ticker this week. They got Leeds at home, Wolves away, 2 difficult fixtures in Chelsea at home and Man United away, but you would say that players like Rodgers, Tammy Abrahams, Watkins, they can all have an effect on those games, so it's not terrible. Then after that they got West Ham at home and Nottingham Forest away, so 4 great fixtures out of 6, and then Chelsea at home and Man United away sandwiched in between. So yeah, really good fixtures to target. Personally, for me, the only player from that would be Rodgers that I would be comfortable picking, and we'll talk about him a little later. On an individual basis, players like Tammy Abrahams and Watkins are good picks. They're strikers that get goals. However, when they're in the same team and the manager only plays one up front, that means that they're going to share minutes and you can't guarantee who's going to play. Tammy Abrahams got the goal in the FA Cup game against Newcastle, but Watkins is there waiting in the wings to be picked as well. So really difficult to know who's going to be picked out of the 2. So I would just avoid those. And then of course in defense, you've got players that you could pick for clean sheets. However, not a lot of the players from the Aston Villa defense get defensive contributions. So I would try to avoid those players as well. Matty Cash is an option if you want that attacking threat, but he's currently yellow flagged. So maybe just wait for the press conferences before you make any decisions there. And then you've got Liverpool. They're second, Nottingham Forest away, West Ham at home, Wolves away, and then Fulham at home. Another team with 4 great fixtures out of 6. You could say that Brighton away is a good fixture as well, considering how poor Brighton are at the moment. Liverpool just beat them 3-0 in the FA Cup. Players to probably target from there would be players like Konate, Virgil van Dijk, who we'll speak about. Szoboszlai looks like he is in form this season. He's scoring goals and picking up a number of turns in the league. He scored again in the FA Cup versus Brighton, so another option there you could go for. And of course, Ekitike up front. Then Brentford, this team is the team that really interests me. Players like Dango, Otara, Shada, you've got defenders in Aya, and you've actually got Rico Henry coming back, the left fullback. He is an attacking fullback that could get you some attacking returns. The standout players for me there would be Dango Otara. He is 5.8 million, and I think he's under 1% owned, and he seems to be really picking up form. I think he's got 5 goals, 5 assists. So definitely somebody there you could potentially target. Those are the fixtures. Now you can see at the bottom of the fixture ticker list, you've got Wolves. You don't really want to get anybody from there, considering how poor they are. Everton, anybody who's got players from Everton, you could start considering moving them on. Chelsea, their fixtures are turning after the Burnley at home game in game week 27. So I'll be looking potentially to move on Enzo Fernandez. And Arsenal are down there as well. They've got a blank as well. Their fixtures aren't great, but we know Arsenal, from the beginning of the season, they've picked up clean sheets against a number of teams where you would consider it to be a difficult fixture. So for me, Arsenal are just that anomaly where you just ignore their fixtures, you continually play their players, and they can pick up points in any game. And now we've seen the fixture ticker, let's take a look at the players that I've selected for the next few game weeks. Alright, so first on the list is Mark Gahey, and now this is a pick from Fantasy Football Hub. They believe that he is the second best defender over the next 3 game weeks to pick up the most points. They predict he's going to score 15.2 points over the next 3, or 23.9 points over the next 6. They have Newcastle at home, Leeds away, and Nottingham Forest at home in the next 3. 3 fixtures that you could see clean sheets from. Newcastle at home being the most difficult fixture out of the 3. Leeds away, it's not an easy place to go to, but from Arsenal's display there, you can see that a clean sheet is possible. Arsenal ran out with 4-0 winners. So Man City going there, who seem to be picking up form at the right time going into the final stages of the league season. This could be a great time to jump on Man City players who are nailed. I personally believe, and did say it at the beginning when he was first signed in game week 23, that he'd be a nailed starter, and it's proven to be the case. He's playing regularly, he scored in the FA Cup over the weekend, and he's undoubtedly improved City's defence. Over the season, Gahey's recorded 1.33 expected goals conceded, but you've got to remember that that is mostly with Palace, who are a side that don't keep as many clean sheets as City. His expected goals conceded whilst with City since game week 3 is 1.09, so that clearly backs up my point about City improving defensively since he's joined. His DEFCON 8.46 is not bad, it's decent, but he's not always going to pick these up, especially playing for a dominant side. So if that's something that puts you off, that's understandable. But he has recorded 9.25 average in the 4 games played for City. He actually hit the 10 mark twice from 4 games, and he also nearly made it 3 times, as he was just 1 away against Fulham in game week 26. So there's definitely a chance that Mark Gahey can pick up defensive contributions, but given the fact that he plays for a possession dominant side, that's not always going to be the case. The only hesitation for me on this pick would be the fact that City blank in game week 31. So if you've already got a number of players that play for Palace, City, Arsenal or Wolves, then I would maybe avoid this transfer. That'd be the only reason why I'd avoid it though, because I actually believe that Mark Gahey would be a great pick. He's only 5.2 million. He's actually cheaper than Nico O'Reilly. He's going to continue to play. He's pretty much nailed. I can't see him being moved out given the fact that he's improved the defense so much. Alright, so moving on to my pick, and I've gone for Virgil van Dijk. Now this is actually something that I probably a few weeks ago would have been like, no, absolutely avoid Virgil van Dijk. He's a waste of money. However, you can't deny that Liverpool have started to improve. They've shown a lot of signs of improvement. Obviously, we already know that their expected goals conceded is really low. He's got 1.17 expected goals conceded over the full season. So they're one of the best teams in the league to keep a clean sheet. That's not proved to be the case, but it just shows that they're underperforming their actual stats. So with a few more positive results, confidence builds, and all of a sudden you've got a team that resembles last season's Liverpool. He's got great fixtures, Nottingham Forest away, West Ham at home, and Wolves away. So every game there is a definite possibility of getting a clean sheet for Liverpool. They kept a clean sheet in the FA Cup against Brighton as well. Yeah, they're going in the right direction now. He's predicted 13.5 points over the next 3. His points per 90 are only 4.27, In his last game out in game week 26, he picked up a goal, clean sheet and 13 defensive contributions. He managed to get 17 points last time out against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Virgil van Dijk, he's always been that player that will suddenly get you a goal, get a clean sheet and defensive contributions. He'll give you a massive haul. He's great at getting defensive contributions, 9.31. It's very good. 12 out of 26 games, he's picked up an additional 2 points. That's an extra 24 points overall. And as I mentioned, he managed to get a goal in game week 26. After going 22 games without a goal, he's now scored 2 in his last 4. Some would say that's going to be his lot, but with another 12 games to go, there's always a chance for more goals, especially facing teams at the bottom end of the table, which he is doing in the next 3 game weeks. As always, for a player, your criteria needs to be nailed, plays 90 minutes, keeps clean sheets, is an attacking threat and defensive contributions, and Virgil van Dijk ticks all those boxes. So yeah, for me, he's a great pick for the next 3 game weeks and to be honest, to the end of the season. Alright, so moving on to midfield, and Fantasy Football Hub have picked Bruno Fernandes. This one is no surprise. This guy has got 6 goals and 12 assists this season so far, and he's been out for some of those games during this season as well. So ridiculous returns there, and you can only expect it's going to improve considering Man United have improved offensively as well. He's got Everton away, Crystal Palace at home, and then Newcastle away in his next 3. So whilst they're not easy fixtures, as some would say, they are definitely fixtures that Bruno Fernandes can pick up a return in. He's predicted 18 points over the next 3 game weeks. He's got 6.48 points per 90, and his expected goal involvement is 0.82, which is just ridiculously high for a midfielder. And his big chances are also 0.82, as well as his big chances created. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't got Bruno already, he's definitely somebody you need to pick up. 9.8 million, he's owned by 36% of managers. If you don't have him, you're going to fall behind every time he picks up a return. And importantly, he's on set pieces, he takes penalties, so when Man United get those fouls in and around the area, you can expect Bruno Fernandes to step up and take those. So again, criteria nailed, plays 90 minutes, is on set pieces, which is more routes to points, can potentially pick up defensive contributions as well. Yeah, he's the all-round pick in midfield, and it's no surprise to see him picked as the 2nd highest midfielder over the next few game weeks, just behind Salah. Alright, so my pick is going to be Morgan Rogers. He's owned by 30% on managers, so a lot of managers agree with this already. They've had him in for a long time. I've not picked him all season, despite last season I had him pretty much the entire season. I was going to pick him at the beginning, however, Villa went on that poor run, then he started to pick up a lot of returns, and I was starting to think, oh, let me consider Morgan Rogers. And then I looked at his stats and they were so poor. I think it was like 0.2 expected goal involvement for a number 10. It's just, I mean, that's not what you want to see when you're picking a player. However, he just continues to prove the doubt was wrong. People who look at the stats and believe that that is the way to choose a player. He's got 8 goals, 5 assists, and he's got some great fixtures coming up. Leeds at home, Wolves away, and then Chelsea at home in the next 3. He's predicted 14.7 points over those 3 game weeks, and he's Villa's most nailed midfielder. He literally plays every minute. He even played against Newcastle in the FA Cup on Saturday. So yeah, for me, Morgan Rogers is just one of those players that the stats just don't affect. He's obviously clinical in big moments. He gets a chance, he scores a goal, and all of a sudden he's got a goal from nothing. So in terms of stats, I would ignore them for Morgan Rogers because he keeps proving those wrong. In terms of criteria, he's nailed, plays full 90 minutes, clean sheets, a possibility, of course, is 1 point, you can get that. An attacking threat, of course, Morgan Rogers is number 10 for Aston Villa. Seems to be having a great season, and I expect him to be picked for England in the World Cup. The only issue there is the defensive contributions, but coming from a number 10, you don't expect those points anyway. Outside picks for a midfielder would be Dango Otara, as I've already mentioned. Yeah, he just plays off Thiago. It seems to like they have a really good connection. If you have Thiago already, which most managers do, having Dango Otara will get you those additional points that could see you surpass managers who just hold Thiago. So when Brentford do well, you can expect Thiago to play a part in that, as well as Dango. So that would really push you beyond the managers who just have Thiago in their team. Then on to forwards, and yeah, I mean, forwards are getting a little bit more interesting. You've got Strand Larsen now playing for Palace, just scored 2 goals. He's got the blank in game week 31 though, so I'd probably avoid him if you had too many players. I was considering him for game week 26. As I mentioned, I'm trying to roll my transfers to build up a safety net so that if anything does go wrong, I've got multiple transfers and I need to set myself up for game week 31. So yeah, Strand Larsen as a striker, he's a good pick if you don't have that issue of game week 31. You've got Tammy Abrahams and Watkins who have come in. If one of them becomes nailed, then maybe they're an option. Right now they're not. And you've got Ekitike who's consistently playing now. So yeah, strikers are getting a little bit more interesting. I had a little rant a few weeks ago that the strikers are really boring. You've really got Haaland, Thiago, and maybe Ekitike, and that's it. But hopefully Strand Larsen moving to Palace, that opens up a few more interesting team selections. But for now, we're going with Ekitike because he's got Nottingham Forest away, West Ham at home, and Wolves away in the next 3 game weeks. Predicted 17.9 points over the next 3. Points per 90 of 6.16. So, yep, he definitely gets returns regularly. And expected goal involvement is 0.6 over this season. 10 goals, 2 assists. He gets 1 big chance every game. So yeah, you can see why Fantasy Football Hub have picked him. He's second only behind Haaland. Ekitike is a great pick. He is a little bit on the expensive side, but he is playing for Liverpool, who have picked up form and look to be chasing down that top 4 spot to reach the Champions League. So there, I can imagine they're going full throttle and they'll pick up a number of points over the next few game weeks, and Ekitike will play a big part in that. And moving on to my forward, based off the fixture list, you cannot ignore Brentford's fixtures. Thiago has had a tough fixture run with Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle and Arsenal in his last 5 game weeks. Now the fixtures are starting to turn. He's got Brighton at home, who I've already mentioned are struggling at the moment. Burnley away, great fixture to target. Wolves at home in game week 30, and then Leeds away in game week 31. Even that Bournemouth away fixture in game week 29, in terms of attacking output for Brentford playing Bournemouth, you can always see an attacking return there for Thiago. He could get a penalty or something like that. It's not the red fixture. When you see red fixtures, you think of Man City away, Arsenal away, Chelsea away. Bournemouth away isn't that. They are a good team, but they can definitely concede against Brentford. So great fixtures to target. Predicted 17.3 points over the next 3 game weeks. He gets 5.43 points per 90, and his expected goal involvement is 0.6. As I mentioned earlier on, he has some very good chances against Arsenal. He didn't put them away, thankfully, but if you can do that against Arsenal, you look at the fixtures there, he can definitely do it against those sides as well. He's already got 17 goals and 1 assist. He's on penalties. He gets over 1 big chance per game, so you can fully expect with those fixtures coming up, Thiago to pick up some returns. And that's my top transfer targets for the next 3 game weeks. What are your thoughts on my picks? Are there any players that you think I've missed out on? Drop them in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out and reply. And finally, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes and future FPL content. Fantasy Focus and my team selection will be uploaded later this week. Let's smash game week 27. As always, green arrows and enjoy the football. Thanks for watching.